Okay, so another video about multiplying and dividing positive and negative integers. And again, we're going to be using tic-tac-toe again. And when you're setting up your tic-tac-toe table, please remember that you got to set up your positive signs diagonally. There's two different ways you can set it up. You can set it up going from left to right, or you can also set it up the other way, right to left. Either way will work out. So instead of doing it this way, you can also do it this way. I'm going to stick to how I did in the beginning. And of course, the rest are going to be negatives. So let's put that in there. Negative, negative, negative. And what it means is if you multiply a positive by a negative, you end up with a negative answer. It equals to a negative answer. This third row, or third column, I should say. This also works for dividing. So it's either for multiplying or dividing. So let me just replace this with division. So if I have a positive divided by a negative, I end up with a negative answer. If I have a negative divided by a positive, I end up with a negative answer. And here's where it gets tricky. A negative by a negative gives me a positive answer. Let's apply the tic-tac-toe table to what we just wrote down. So right here I have a negative divided by a positive. So I look over here where I have a negative first, then followed by a positive. Well, there it is. A negative divided by a positive equals a negative answer. So over here, it's going to be negative 5. Your answer should be a negative answer. That's how it works. Let's keep going down the line. This next one's multiplication. So remember, this not only works for division, but it also works for multiplying as well. And what we have here first is a negative multiplied by another negative. So in this case, two wrongs do make a right. A negative multiplied by a negative gives me a positive answer. So negative 8 times negative 6 gives me positive 48. Or you can put positive, doesn't matter. And now the last one. Now the last one, I threw two operations in there. Operation means when you add, subtract, multiply, or divide. What I mean is I threw in division, then multiplication. And instead of giving you just two numbers, I gave you three. So I kind of stepped it up in this one. But as long as you follow the tic-tac-toe table, it shouldn't give you any trouble. So first, we're going to focus on seeing where we have a negative followed by a positive. Negative multiplied by positive gives me a negative answer. So it doesn't mean my answer here is going to be negative. No. That just means that right here, I'm going to underline it. So that way we know what numbers I'm talking about. I'm going to underline it to give my answer underneath it. Negative 50 divided by positive 10, which is right here. Your 50 would be the negative, and your 10 would be the positive. You end up with a negative answer. Negative 5 in this case. All right. But what you're going to do next is bring down whatever was not underlined, meaning you're going to bring down whatever you were not working on. So I had not even started working with right here multiplying by negative 4. So now I get this new question to solve. Well, Let's use our tic-tac-toe table. A negative multiplied by a negative gives me a positive answer. So this would be, my negative would be, of course, -5 times my -4 would give me a, well, guess what it would be? It would be a positive 20. So right here, this gives me positive 20. That's my answer. And I solved it by using the tic-tac-toe table.